is down to 4. Collin wants to throw the ball. There's the fade to Harper. He's got it. Wildcat touchdown. Collin Klein the snap. Fakes to Hubert. Wants to throw. Down the middle. Wide open. It's caught. Touchdown to Tremaine Thompson. He walks in. Wide open Tremaine Thompson.
Klein, the quarterback draw again. Cuts it back, dives to the end zone. Touchdown!
Second touchdown of the day for Collin Klein.
Klein drops back to pass. Over the middle, has his man open for the touchdown.
Touchdown down the seam. Wide open is Curry Sexton. 28-yard touchdown for Kansas State, and they lead it 23-3.
Klein trying to avoid the pressure. He does run for it. Klein will fall forward, and it looks like he has that first down.
Play fakes to Hubert. Wants to throw. Has some time. Fires far side for Harper. He got it at the Oklahoma 41-yard line. And K-State will run the ball to the left. To the edge, Collin Klein. Touchdown! Blocking for him, Braden Wilson. Collin Klein into the end zone.
Klein again with time to the end zone, and it is caught. Tyler Lockett, touchdown. Klein running the option. He'll keep it, has a hole. Klein to the end zone, touchdown.
Touchdown for Collin Klein.
Collin Klein knows there's a Heisman voter in the house, and Eric Crouch, he's trying to make a positive impression.
And now the Louisburg Athletic Club welcomes Collin Klein. How's everybody doing tonight? Ooh. Well, thank you so much for having me, and my wife Shaylin here to be able to share with you guys tonight. Sorry we're a little late getting in the door here. We had some technical difficulties getting the video running. We were about to ask for 21 other volunteers to reenact some of the videos because it wasn't looking so good there for a couple minutes, but we got it all taken care of, and again, hopefully there will be a lot of things that I will share through my journey, things that have been shared with me through coaches, parents, etc., that have really impacted my life, and I want to share a lot of those with you. And I guess the first one that just came to my mind, I want to share with you guys is about gratitude, and partly from our sponsors of making this thing happen. Is every Saturday morning or Friday night before a game on Saturday morning, Coach Snyder would always ask us every night without fail. Coach Snyder is so consistent in everything he does, as I see a lot of Purple Cat fans probably know. But he would ask us every Friday night, it was like clockwork as we're finishing up our team meal. He'd be like, now guys, he's like, remember when you go to bed tonight, you write a little note to the hotel cleaning lady for giving us a good stay and their work in making it possible. And at first he did it every time, and it kind of just washed over me. I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool, whatever. And then it struck me that Coach Snyder, of all people, with all the things that are going through his head, he's thinking about game plan. He's thinking about what Oklahoma's going to be in on third and medium. He's thinking about logistics of how we're going to get to the stadium. He's thinking about all these things, and all these things going through his head, and he's thinking about the hotel cleaning lady. And that's pretty cool. And so always, every one of us here, people help us do what we do, whatever that is. And just really, it struck me again, just take time out of your day, out of your way, normal way of doing things, to find those people that are helping you do what you do, and thank them, show gratitude to them, and that changes people's lives, and you will change the people around you in really amazing ways. And so, again, we want to thank our sponsors and have much gratitude to them for making this possible. I want to start out with a word of prayer, if you guys would bow your heads with me for our time together. Dear Heavenly Father, we just pray for this evening and for this time. We thank you for this time, and thank you for all these people and just how they prioritized and took time out of their day and busy schedules to spend time with me and all of us that are putting on this event. And I just pray that, Lord, your words would be my words, and that something tonight would have a positive impact on someone here, and it would make it all worth it. And just again, please give us all servant eyes to see and to serve those around us that we could benefit and help impact their lives. Lord, please again, just please bless this time and let us have a wonderful night. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. First of all, we're going to talk about a couple things tonight. The first one that we're going to talk about is the power of your journey. And we all have a journey, we all have a story, and there's power in that. I know for me, my background, a little bit more about myself, grew up in Loveland, Colorado, was very blessed and fortunate to be raised in a Christian home. Had one younger brother. He's 2 years younger than I am. He's actually a receiver at Kansas State and has 2 more years to play, which I and he is very excited about. They're really doing awesome up there, and was again born in Loveland, Colorado. Do we have any? I have a confession I need to tell you guys about tonight too. By the way, I'm kind of being raised in Colorado and from Colorado. I'm kind of a Bronco fan. Do we have any Bronco fans in here? We have a couple. How about that? All right. Do we have any Chiefs fans in the room? Oh boy, we're gonna have to band together, my friends. Here, we're way outnumbered. My wife, Shaylin, right here, wave to everybody. Everyone wave to her. All right. My wife, Shaylin, her dad played for Kansas State and the Chiefs, and so she's as much of a Chiefs fan for both of us and cheers loud enough for both of us on Sundays, I can tell you that firsthand. And so I've kind of converted her to half a Broncos fan, and she's converted me to half a Chiefs fan, and so it all kind of evens out. Okay, where was I? I was born in Loveland, Colorado. I was very blessed to be raised in a Christian home. Both my parents were first-generation Christians, and really tried to do their very best and did a tremendous job of trying to show me what a relationship with the Lord looked like. I know I accepted the Lord when I was 7 years old. It was kind of funny. It was actually, I went to church that Sunday morning, and I was sitting there as a 7-year-old listening to the pastor talk about heaven and hell, and I remember thinking to myself, I was like, man, I know where I want to go and I know where I don't want to go. And it really struck me. I was like, I want pearly gates, golden streets, singing music, and I don't want any part of that fire and brimstone stuff. No, thank you. And I remember it, like I said, sitting there, it really impacted me and affected me. So when we go home, we're watching the Bronco game, and at halftime I asked my dad, I was like, Dad, I really want to go to heaven. And he's like, all right, well, you need to ask Jesus in your heart. And so we went down at halftime, we turned the game off, and he was trying to explain a little bit about what that meant. And at the time, I didn't understand what a relationship with Jesus was. I didn't understand exactly what it looked like, but I knew one thing. I knew where I wanted to go and where I did not want to go. And so my walk with the Lord started right there. I know through high school, I played both sports, or 2 sports. I was basketball and football. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Was pretty indecisive as far as what I wanted to do, because and so I didn't do very many camps or anything like that one way or another, so I wasn't really getting recruited. I was very, very under the radar. And I took it finally after my junior season. I decided that I wanted to play football. And that the Lord had laid it on my heart that I wanted to play football. And so we had gone on a couple unofficial visits. I went to University of Utah, where else? Colorado State, Air Force, Wyoming, and K-State. And out of all the visits, deep down in my heart, I really loved K-State. That's where I really wanted to go. I remember going up there to Manhattan in an unofficial visit in April, and I was so struck by how awesome the people were. Everybody wanted to help me out, and everyone was wearing purple. And it was a Friday in April. And it's like you would have thought there was a game going on at the stadium. That's how much purple there was. And that impacted me so much that I was like, man, that's a special place. I'd really like to go there. And so I, again, go to these unofficial visits. Not too much is happening. And God opened a door because K-State was the only college that offered me a scholarship. So it made my decision pretty simple. So I was fortunate deep down it was where I wanted to go, but the Lord opened only one door, and it was K-State. So it made my decision pretty easy. So so I go to K-State, and kind of going back to my journey of the heart, I became a Christian when I was 7, and my parents did an amazing job of trying to show me again what that looked like. They encouraged me, and we set aside time every day to read the Bible every morning. We went to church every Sunday. We went to Bible club every Wednesday night. We, again, very fortunate, memorized a lot of Scripture, wonderful, great things. But deep down inside, I kind of was developing a very hard attitude of pride. Because, again, I had kind of projected and fallen into this rut of thinking that the Christian life was all about looking good, making sure your whole life was all in order, so that other people would look at you, esteem you highly, think you were a very good person, and then try to be like you. And that was impacting people in a positive, and that was impacting people for the Lord. That was what being a Christian was all about. And again, those are doing good things, making sure your life's together, like all that's good stuff. But again, I had fallen into a very bad rut of pride, and that was kind of my mode of operation, and it was working. Through high school, you know, people always looked at me as that good Christian guy, that upstanding Christian kid who did all the right things. He, you know, didn't use bad language. He treated everyone very well, all that type of stuff. And so that kind of was growing in my heart, and that was my mode. So I go to K-State with that same mode. I'm thinking, I'm going to be perfect. I'm going to do all these good things. I'm going to, on the football field, I'm going to watch more film than everybody. I'm going to go to every extra workout that there possibly can be. I'm going to watch more film than everybody. And on the field, then in the classroom, I'm going to get good grades. I'm going to hang around the right friends. I'm going to get involved with campus ministry. And everyone's going to look at me and be like, you know what, I want to be like that guy. Look at how good he is. And that's a very dangerous place to be. And that was my heart when I got to K-State. And so I get to K-State, and I do all those things. And things don't necessarily plan out like I had planned, or pan out like I had planned. I had planned that if I do all these good things, I'm going to play early. I'm going to obviously do very well in the classroom. I'm going to have all these good friends, and everyone's going to want to be like me, and I'm going to impact the campus for the Lord. And I get there and do all those things, and my first spring that I'm able to compete for a job, 1 week, 2 weeks in, coach calls me in his office and is like, Collin, I'm going to have to, you know, bump you down the depth chart and take your reps away. And I was like, man, that stinks. I was like, I've worked so hard, I've watched more film than everybody, all these things, and that wasn't in the cards, that wasn't what I had projected was going to happen. And I said, that's okay, I'm going to work harder. And I did. And going through that fall, I played special teams, I played wide receiver, tight end, fullback, I'd take a snap, I'd go run a route, all these different things. And it's not what I really wanted to do at the time. As a matter of fact, I had never really blocked anybody in my life. We're playing Texas A&M at home, and my redshirt freshman season, and they put me on kickoff return. And I'm standing there, and we count from the outside in who we're supposed to block, and so I'm counting, and all of a sudden I land on this guy that because I was only a redshirt freshman. I was pretty young. I was maybe a little over 210, and I count this guy off, and he's all of 6'6", maybe even 260. And I count off, and I'm like, ooh, him? Let me count that again. My math's not too good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Dang. So I was like, all right, here we go. So they kick the ball off. I run. I get to my depth. I turn around, and he's right there. And he runs me over like I wasn't even there. I am on my back. First kick out of halftime, first kick of the second half. And he trips over my face mask. And if he didn't trip over my face mask, he would have made the tackle. And Brandon Banks, actually, you guys remember him probably, he ended up returning the ball for a touchdown. And I remember getting up and jogging down the field after him going, oh my goodness, what just happened? I'm glad it worked out and he didn't make the tackle. Because we get in film on Monday and coach is sitting there. See, I got a laser pointer tonight. This is kind of cool. This is pretty high tech. So he's going down the line of critiquing all these positions, and my head just goes down. I'm just like, please don't get to me. Like, time, get up, like, good to the next meeting so he doesn't have to critique my terrible performance. So he gets to me, and the whole room's laughing. I mean, like, because it's played like 5, 6 times over when he's been critiquing all the other guys. They've been snickering the whole time, waiting for me to get coached up on this deal. And so he gets to me, and he goes, Collin, he goes, you're blocking the right guy. Trying to block the right guy. And the effort's good, but we might want to work on your technique a little bit. And it could have been a lot worse. But anyway, so the point is I was doing things and asked to do things that I didn't really want to do and that weren't in my plan for my football career, my life. And so I go through that season, get into the next spring, and I'm thinking, all right, this is my chance. I've developed, I've served my time, all these things, and going again. And going into fall camp, get bumped down the depth chart again. And it was, at the time, like, to me, that was my world. That was what I was trying to control and what I was trying to make happen. And when that got ripped away from me, I was very angry at God, because I was like, why is this happening? Like, I've done all these good things. Look at my life. Like, good things happen to good people, don't they? Or isn't that how it's supposed to work out? And so I played in a few games my redshirt sophomore year. Played against Texas. It ended up being my first start because Carson got hurt. And so I did get on the field somewhat, but I was really frustrated. And at this point, and after 3 years of being at K-State, I was tired. I was tired of trying to do it on my own steam. I had worked so hard to make my life look perfect, to do all the right things, assuming all these good things would happen, and it didn't happen like I had planned. And that's when I got to the point of that spring of surrendering. I had 2 years left. My first 3 hadn't gone as planned. I had 2 years left, and I was sitting there and I was praying. I was like, Lord, like, my life is, and my career, my academics, my relationships, they're truly yours. I don't care if I play another down. If I score 100 touchdowns, if I score 1 touchdown. I was like, it doesn't matter to me, because you know what? I've tried to make this thing look and be exactly what I wanted it to look like, and it hasn't gone so hot. And whatever your plan is for me, for football, in football, I'm truly good with it. And all of a sudden, there was kind of a release, a burden was lifted off my shoulders, and I felt it almost instantly. Because, I mean, when you're trying to be perfect and do all those good things on your own steam, it's tiring. You get depressed. You start to get mad at yourself because you can't measure up and do the things you want to and are trying to do. And it's just a vicious cycle. And so the burden was lifted. All of a sudden, I was having a lot more fun. I was playing better on the field. I had a lot more joy from the inside because the result was in the Lord's hands. Whatever happened to my football career, I was finally good with it and had come to that place. And it was not a fun journey to get there, but I finally got to that point. And it's kind of I had had that peace with God's plan. And that piece will be tested, because going into that, my junior season, coach didn't name a starter until like a week before the first game. No one knew what was going to happen. And so a week before the first game, he says, I'm going to start, and we'll see how it goes. And anyone remember the Eastern Kentucky game? We're down 7-3 with 1:30 seconds left to a team that we shouldn't be down to, because we had played terrible. We had 5 turnovers, terrible. The defense played awesome. That was the only bright spot of the game, because they kept us in it. And Chris and I ended up making a play with 1:30 seconds left to score and to win the game. But we go into the next week, and we're playing Kent State at home, and start off like gangbusters. It's 21-0. We had a 99-yard drive, a 97-yard drive, and things are going great. And in the second quarter, coach sits me down and puts somebody else in. And I remember sitting there by the phones. I always used to sit over there by the phones, and thinking to myself, I was like, and I almost reverted, feeling sorry for myself and mad that, you know, I should have been doing something else. But I remember sitting there and I was like, Lord, it's okay. It's okay. And I had peace in my heart, which is not natural, because my natural response would have been, hey, he's in my spot. I should be out there on the field. Get him out of there. That's my spot. And that was when, again, I knew and felt that it was from the Lord, because he's like, it's okay. It's going to be all right. And who could have scripted? Next week we go down. We end up beating a very good Miami team on the road. End up being top 20 Baylor the next week. And, you know, my career takes a shape, and things happen in the next 2 years of, you know, Heisman finalist, win a Big 12 championship, all these things that at the time, you know, if we would have taken a poll, if we had a piece of paper we could take around and take a vote before my junior season, if all those things would have happened, not one of us would have been able to predict that. Myself included. If you'd asked me, I'd been like, you kidding me? I can't even get on the field and start a game, let alone do all that. And, you know, God's plan is so much better than our plan. And he is actively involved in each and every one of our stories, and writing each and every one of our stories in a way that we don't understand, in a way that is a lot better, a lot more, it's going to be a lot richer than anything we could have scripted, because I wouldn't have scripted my career that way. I wouldn't have done it. I'd have been on the field a lot earlier and all that type of stuff. But he has a plan, and that's the power too in your story, because I know even in my faith journey, and like how God brought me to God used football to bring me to a perspective of him, and that kind of surrendering point that I surrendered my life to him truly. He used football to do that for me. He will use different things, unique, original things in each and every one of your lives to do the very same thing. And it's about having a humble heart to be able to see and recognize that, so he can be like, here, I'll show you what giving me the reins, giving me the steering wheel looks like. Because you never know where it's going to go. It's exciting, it's peaceful, and there's joy. And each and every one of you have a story that's very powerful, very unique, and that will encourage others. And I encourage you to share that with others. Second P is power of work ethic and fueling your body. First, we're going to start with the work ethic part. We're kind of cheating. We said we're going to give you 3. This is we're putting 2 in 1. So we're kind of scrimping or sneaking one in on you. Work ethic. It was funny. I was training with a strength coach from my high school this spring, and he said this to me, and it really kind of impacted me greatly. And the quote is, faith can move mountains, but you better bring a shovel. And it just hit me just right, because even with Shaylin and I right now, I feel like we're learning this whole total surrender bit all over again. I mean, we don't really know exactly what's going to happen. We don't know if I'm going to get a chance to play in the NFL or in Canada or what. I mean, we're kind of all packed up, ready to move. We don't know. We don't know where that is or what it's going to be. But we do have faith that something's going to happen and it's going to be very good. But the second part of faith sums up this quote, and when my strength coach shared that with me, it hit me like a ton of bricks, because we have to be ready and prepare ourselves and be good stewards with what God has given us to be ready to move when He starts working. Because it's not fair to even call it a 50-50 relationship. It's the power of God, and it's God, I don't know what it is, a lot more than 50-50, I can promise you that. But you look at examples over and over through the Bible and success stories, even with people you know. They were ready and prepared for what God had for them. You look at David and Goliath. Yeah, he beat Goliath. God worked a miracle and gave him the power to kill the giant. But David still had to go down and get his stones. He still had to bring his sling to battle. He didn't just walk to battle and say, all right, Lord, you do it. It's all you. It's all you anyways, but I got to be prepared. And I got to practice, and I got to work. And, for me, it's funny, when I first got to K-State, there was some good fruit that came from my mentality of a work ethic and trying to do all those good things and putting forth that effort. There was very good fruit that came of that. I remember as a redshirt freshman wide receiver, I didn't know too many people, and it's kind of funny, when you text receiver, sometimes if the fifth string quarterback texts receiver, sometimes they won't show up on a Saturday morning to catch passes for you. And so every Saturday morning when I first got there, I used to go to the indoor facility, and we had these nets that you could throw in and we'd catch them for you. And I remember setting them up where all the patterns would be, and I'd visualize in my head of, hey, we're playing Oklahoma or whoever it was, and it's 3rd and 6, and the game's on the line in the fourth quarter, and I got to make a play, and I got to put it right in this box for us to get a first down. I remember going through all that by myself and, kind of having that visualization of, whatever the situation was. And it's so funny because God rewarded that. I didn't know in my senior year we'd be down at Oklahoma and convert 2 third downs in the fourth quarter to end up icing the game. And preparing yourself and making sure that you are ready and in the right position when God provides the opportunity to then move forward and capitalize and make something happen. For His glory, through His power, is what we're called to do. And this is another quote that I have on my bulletin board. There's never a crowd on the extra mile. I know it kind of goes back to that same thing. There's never, sometimes the not so fun, hard, not so glamorous stuff. No one's going to be around to watch you do it. There's not going to be a coach. There's not going to be a boss. There's not going to be a teacher. There's not going to be whoever it is standing over your shoulder making you do it right. And wherever we're at, whatever we're doing, do it as the Lord is watching. Because He is on the extra mile, and He's seeing that you do your very best. And I remember I have to remind myself that when I'm by myself and want to slack off. Because it's very easy to cut corners. And part of that preparation is being thorough and doing the very best that you possibly can. Second part, especially that is very, very important in today's society and athletics, is how you fuel your body. I was very fortunate. My mom was way ahead of her time. She did a marvelous job of kind of educating my brother and I and my family about whole food nutrition, about taking care of your body. I know sometimes when you're young, and I was the same way, I thought for sure that I could survive on ice cream and cookies and be good all day, every day, and that's obviously not true. And especially in football, my mom again laid a foundation of we made our own bread, really cut out any type of soda and things of that nature. Encouraged me to drink a lot of water and get good sleep. It's funny, you're supposed to drink half your body weight in ounces of water. And I don't get that. I still don't do that. My wife Shaylin's on me all the time. She's constantly handing me water, and I tell her I'm going to drown my organs because I can't drink that much. But she does, and she's healthier for it, and I'm trying to pursue after her in that. But that's, again, a huge point. No caffeine, sugar drinks. Another really good story that was just amazing that it happened. I was a sophomore in high school, just finished my freshman year, and a bunch of us guys on the football team, we were kind of working out and had a great accountability group where we were there every day, and if someone wasn't, we were checking on them to make sure they were okay. It was that kind of group, and very positive. And we made a pact, all of us, that if any one of us had a pop, they had to do extra sets of abs or something that we all didn't like doing. And we would hold each other accountable, and I was homeschooled, so no one really could keep me in track during the day, but I'd hear all these stories of somebody seeing the other guy in the cafeteria having a pop, and they'd nail him, and it was a fun way to do something very positive. I mean, soda pop and things like that are terrible for you. So that's that. Be wary of supplements and vitamins. This again was something that my mom kind of shared with me and was on track. And just be very careful of what you put in your body when it's a piece of something. Our bodies are programmed, and God designed our bodies to accept and recognize food in their whole form. And there's a lot of studies have come out that vitamins and even protein extracts and things like that can be very detrimental because your body doesn't know exactly what to do with them, and it can kind of confuse your body. Eat whole foods, kind of touched on that. The last thing is bridging the gap with Juice Plus. This was a product that Shayla and I are now on that truly is just amazing. It's raw fruits and vegetables in a capsule that help bridge the gap, because I can't eat and I've tried, I can't eat that much salad and carrots. But I've tried to eat and I can't eat the amount of fruits and vegetables that I need every day, and this product is NSF certified. It's totally above board in a whole food form that your body recognizes, and it's really benefited both of us. And put a slide in here for my wife. I tell her that's my salad. I take the pill and I tell her, yeah, see, I ate my salad today, and truly recommend it, and I don't do that very often. It's very positive thing. Power, the third P, power of priorities. And this is my favorite, because it truly is the most important. Priorities, my priorities are faith number 1, family number 2, football number 3. And, okay, priorities. Consciously or not consciously, we all have priorities, whether you know it or not. And someone can look at your life, or if someone looked at your life, they should have a rough idea, or could have a rough idea of what's most important to you. You know, I know, and I would pray and hope that if someone looked at my life, that they would say, you know what? God's very important to him. His relationship with Jesus Christ is very important to him. He wants to know and learn from the Bible what God wants his life to look like. I can tell that that's important to him. I can tell that his family is important to him. You know, he prioritizes his time with Shaylin, his wife, and his family. He prioritizes that and makes it important. You know, he works hard to be the best football player that he can possibly be. You know, he doesn't miss workouts. He doesn't slack off. He puts things in his body. He works hard when no one's looking. That's what I want. That's what I would want someone who looked at my life to be able to say. And because we are all sinful and fallen human beings, that's not always the case. And that's hard to do. And because you have to ask yourself the same question. I have to look myself in the mirror and say, hey, is my life in that order? Is my life looking like that? you know what? Collin, man, you missed that one. You were hanging with the guys and you passed up spending time and prioritizing time with your wife. That's a problem. Collin, man, because a lot of people on the outside don't know this. You got to be honest with yourself. It's a very vulnerable place to be. You know, Collin, you didn't give 100% in that workout. I got to fix that next time. And if we all would look ourselves in the mirror and be honest and vulnerable with ourselves, our lives would probably be a lot better off. Our decisions reveal our priorities. Kind of touched on that. If someone looks at you and looks at your life, what priorities are they going to see? I encourage especially young people, but people and kids of all ages, write them down. I know as Shaylin and I were putting this together, I was convicted about this because I have written down for Shaylin and I our priorities and put them somewhere that we would see them every day in a while. And there's power in writing it down. Something, you know, my dad always said that growing up, and I never really believed him because I said, I got them in my head. Come on, Dad. But there is power in writing it down, and especially young guys, young boys and girls. Like I remember, you know, writing down certain goals of even competing in a state championship in high school, winning one. Yeah, I finished second that year, but you know what? I got a lot further when I set the goal than I would have if I would have just sloughed it off and didn't do anything. And there's power in writing it down, because partly is it really makes you think. You can't just kind of think of something. It makes you actually put it in words and think about it. The second part is it helps in that accountability process. Because if it's written down, you really can't run away from it or slightly change it to make it fit the situation, like I'll do sometimes, and rationalize to make it fit. It is what it is. It's written down. And then you can use it as a filter moving forward. Because I've kind of touched on and talked about how you can look at the past and kind of correct your decisions, retroactively, but proactively, looking down the line and putting this decision up next to that list and being like, hey, is hanging out with these people or having these friends, is it going to edify me and grow me in my faith? Is it going to make me a better family man? Is hanging out with these guys going to encourage me to support, to love, to protect my family, or is it not? If it is, great. Let's get after it, have a ton of fun, put that baby to bed, as one of our coaches used to say. If not, send it on down the road, because it's not worth messing what's most important to you up for something that's going to last for a very short time. And like I said, having that in front of you, I know kids and students out there, I had to tell myself this all the time, because is school a priority for you? Is it important to you? Is studying for that test? If school's a priority for you, studying for that test is important. Probably more important than playing video games or hanging out with your friends or whatever it is. Have that in front of you so you can use it and to help you make those tough decisions when maybe you don't know, or maybe what you want to do is influencing what you should do and what the right thing to do is. Lastly, and to kind of finish the priority point off, is just once you know what's most important to you, once you've identified it, worked through it, be willing to take a stand. And that kind of goes back to that decision-making process that I was talking about, because if you don't know what's most important to you, you're going to end up down the line at some point asking yourself, where am I at and what am I doing? And that's a very scary place to be, that none of us want to be there. Because if you're riding the fence on whatever issue it is, and you don't know what you believe in and what's most important to you, when that storm comes, and it's going to come, it's going to knock you off that fence. And you got a 50-50 chance which side you're going to land on. And it's not worth 50% odds or nothing to bet on. I know that much. Anyways, long story behind that, I used to bet my grandpa when I was growing up on the national championship game and stuff. I lost every one. I didn't win one single bet for 10 years running. And he would even let me pick who I wanted. I couldn't believe it. He'd who do you want to take? I was like, I'd take that. And and it wouldn't work out. But anyways, you don't want to gamble with what's most important to you and with your life. In conclusion, there's power in each and every one of your stories. It will encourage and can be used to encourage the people around you, whether you think it will or not. Sometimes I even have that self-talk to myself. You know what? My story's not that important. It's really not going to help people. Or maybe, for whatever reason it is. But each one of you has a story that's being written originally and uniquely. And be proud of it, and there's power in it. Even if it's not all flowers and roses, because there's going to be some hard parts too. Wise preparation for challenges. Prepare yourself. I know for me the big thing was work ethic and nutrition. But whatever field or whatever you're in or whatever you're a part of or whatever you're trying to tackle, make sure you're prepared and ready when the opportunity presents itself, so that you can take advantage and maximize the opportunity that is God-given and that He provided for you. Lastly, be men and women of priority. There's a lot of people out there today that, again, don't know what's most important to them, and it shows. So I pray that each and every one of us would, again, be men and women of priority that would know what's most important to them and have the strength and courage to stand on it regardless of whatever the consequences. Whatever the consequences. Thank you guys so much for having, again, us here tonight. I know my wife Shaylin and Leslie are going to come up, or what's that? Oh, yeah. Where's my script? We got question and answers. How about that? I can't believe I forgot about that. So this is my favorite time in the whole presentation, because these are some things that are important to me and that have helped me, but I really like hearing from you and hearing and talking about what you guys want to hear me talk about instead of just what I'm talking about. So really an open book, no pressure, fun questions, football questions, life questions, when we talk about questions, anything is fair game, and it's open now. Front row. Oh, I like that number, by the way. Say that again? You said, why don't I like the Seahawks? Because the Seahawks crushed the Broncos. Man, can't believe you reminded me of that. Dang. Yeah, I know, that was a rough one, wasn't it? They played better. Oh, you're a Seahawks fan, so it was a good night for this man. Yeah, no, it was a rough game, Peyton. It's hard to get off from that bad start. Right here.
What was your toughest season of football, like in freshman or sophomore?
Great question. The toughest season, they were all tough in unique and individual ways. I'd say probably the toughest was my junior year, just because I was, again, fighting, competing, and trying to, get onto the field. But then once I was on the field, I really had to fight through and be mentally tough through a lot of injuries. I didn't miss a snap, and I was pretty dinged up towards the end of the year. I mean, I separated my right shoulder, I had bruised cartilage in my sternum, bruised right ribs, a bursa sac in my right ankle. I mean, I was a hurting unit, and blood everywhere, which everyone saw. But I'd say that was probably the toughest season, just because I really had to be mentally tough and dial into what I had to do for my team. Right there in the back corner. Question was, if anyone didn't hear, what are we doing, where am I at, and kind of where our family is, and I wish I could answer those more directly. I'm still training every day, trying to be ready for when the opportunity comes. If I get an opportunity to try out for an NFL team, we're talking with a few Canadian teams to see if there's maybe some opportunities up there. We've been staying in Manhattan. We've been staying actually in some really good friends' basement. All of our stuff's packed up and ready to go. We just don't really know where we're going. So that's kind of what we've been up to. I've been very blessed to come around and do a few speaking events such as this, and get to meet some really great people and spend some time like this. It's been a lot of fun. So back there in the back. Yep, that's you. The question is how we're doing the raffle tickets. Well, when I'm done here, I like where your head's at. That's good stuff. No, the raffle tickets after we're done question and answer, I think that's what Shaylin and Leslie are going to come up and do, which I almost jumped the gun on. So there in the back. Question was, when did I start playing football? I didn't play organized tackle football until my 9th grade year, my freshman year in high school. It was my dad's decision to kind of hold me out. He didn't want me to start too early and either burn out or bad habits or anything like that. And not that, playing football that young is a bad thing. It just was his choice and what he chose to do. And so I played flag football 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, and in the backyard with my friends all the time, which I count that. That definitely counts. Those are serious games. I still remember plays from those backyard games. Here. Well.
What's it like being on the sidelines during the game now and watching the brother play?
What's it like being on the sidelines watching my brother play? It's hard. I mean, it's so recent yet so long ago. I mean, it was only a year and a half or so ago that was me, and still know all the calls, still like all that stuff. So watching the play get signaled in, like I know what's going to be run and all that type of stuff. So it feels like I'm still playing the game almost mentally, which is good and bad. But I'm just so proud of my brother. I know he got in and made some catches this year and really contributed. So I'm just happy to support him and the whole team, because it really is a family, and I'll be a purple and a cat forever. So we get stopped quite a bit, but again, that's just a testament to our great fans and the people that represent and are a part of K-State, like you folks. So. What was my favorite, most memorable victory? We were so fortunate to be, I was so fortunate to be part of a great team. I mean, our group of guys was very unique and special, and we played in a lot of tough games. I mean, my junior year, I think 8 of our 10 wins, we had to score to go ahead in the 4th quarter or make a stop to hold the lead. Like, it was a 1-possession game that went down to the wire. Which you don't win, statistically, you don't win 10 games that are that close. So, I mean, there are so many special ones there, and just the guys of Arthur and Travis Tannehill and Anthony Quintelli. I mean, I could go on and on. Like, the times with them, I think, are most memorable, those individual times. If I had to pick one game, though, I mean, I'd probably have to say it was Texas A&M my junior year when we went to 4 overtimes. And ended up winning, but it was just, I think the game time was almost 4+ hours. I mean, it was just, neither one of us could move ahead to finally put the nail in the coffin, so to speak. But again, just very blessed to be on a great team and with a lot of great memories. Over here. What's my favorite Bible verse? Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. That's pretty fitting for where we are right now and my whole story. So, right there. Say that again. The question was, am I going to be at the K-State football camp? I don't know if I will be. I think I was actually in town the last 2 years and was able to talk with the kids one day. I don't know, it kind of depends on what happens with where we're at and kind of how that all comes together. I know we're trying to run our camps and my football camp again this summer, and trying to get the dates kind of finalized for those as far as when and how we're going to do that. We're going to get that figured out. So a lot of fun, but we're taking it one step at a time. The question was, I'm sorry, the question was, when I first walked out of the tunnel in my first game, what was I thinking, and what were my emotions? First time, I think I remember kind of short-circuiting a little bit. Thank goodness I wasn't playing, because I don't know if I could remember what I was supposed to do or not, because it is such just a great environment. I remember just thinking, wow, like this is, it's a very special and unique place, and K-State is. The question was, what was the greatest challenge in my faith while I was at college? I think it's twofold. I think first part would be saying no. I mean, you're going to have to say no to things at times, and maybe that you even want to do, or that people that you like or want to be with, and that's not easy to do. The second part would be kind of just getting that internal part of my heart unwound and humbled, and walking through that, because like I said, I mean, doing all these good things on the outside with kind of a prideful, arrogant heart, so to speak, is no different than, I mean, it's the same thing than the other extreme. And so I think both of those probably parts were the challenge. We had a couple more back in the back. One more. Who wants the last one? Right there in the purple sweatshirt. There we go. The question was, what inspires me to keep playing football? And, I think it's multifold. I think I love the game. I love the play. I love the interaction with and the relationships that you build on the team, the strategy and the preparation, the hours of putting a plan together that's going to beat somebody else's plan. Then competing and getting hit and hitting other people. I think it's probably a mixture of all those things. But and I really feel like too, like the Lord puts certain desires in your heart at certain times for certain reasons, and I don't know what the reason for hanging in there is, but Chandler and I both believe that I'm still supposed to hang in there and train, because it still is inspiring. It inspires me, and is in my heart to play. So we're going to do that until that gets removed. So I could do this all night. I love spending time with you guys. Thanks again.
faith in us, but never in yourselves. My name is Optimus Prime. We are autonomous robotic organisms from the planet Cybertron. But you can call us Autobots for short.